today we're doing something a little bit different. That's right, it's not Cyberdan, but it's Vengeance, also known as The Manager, coming in for a video. And today we're talking about a game in one of my favorite game series of all time, Fallout 3. Let's crack open a Nuka-Cola and let's get exploring the wastes. Before I go into detail on Fallout 3, let's talk about the world and its earlier installments. You see, Fallout takes place in a retro, futuristic, post-apocalyptic world, one that was designed to feel like it never quite left the 1950s. To put it simply, the world diverged in the 1950s, with the United States exploring more and more uses for nuclear power, and delving heavily into the anti-communist sentiment that was so evident in those days. Everything seemed to be going great, with robots becoming household members. However, the world still relied to some extent on fossil fuels, and it all came to a head in the 2070s. To put it simply, the US annexed Canada, China invaded Alaska, the US created power armor, and before we could complete pushing them entirely out of Alaska, the Chinese did the unthinkable. They dropped the bomb. On October 23rd, 2077, the world was thrown into chaos when the first bombs were dropped in the Great War. And here's where we enter the original Fallout games, originally developed under Interplay. The first Fallout games were a top-down isometric system, utilizing turn-based combat. Originally taking place in California, these games brought us some elements of Fallout that we know and love today, chief among them being the special system. The games were originally intended to be built with Steve Jackson's GURPS system, GURPS. However, after a disagreement over the game's content, Interplay developed the special, SPECIAL, system to replace it. This system can still be found in Fallout games today, proving its worth in a world of RPGs and multiple leveling systems for every single one. And now with that brief bit of backstory, let's get into Fallout 3. You see, Fallout 3 slammed into the shelves in 2008, and it was the first in the series after Bethesda acquired the rights to Fallout from Interplay. And Bethesda was dead set on making their first showing a good one. See, this game blew our minds with its amazing gameplay, and the setting of Washington, D.C. was incredible. Using 3D graphics and real-time combat was a huge improvement over the older 2D isometrics and the turn-based combat, like I talked about previously. And its unique character leveling system and open-ended gameplay meant the replayability of this game was absolutely endless. And while playing the game, you are bound to tune into some tunes on your journey, and you're bound to hear one of the most iconic voices in the Wasteland. I'm talking, of course, about Three Dog, the Wasteland's absolutely iconic radio DJ. And I'm no Three Dog, but the music in this game is just pure vintage perfection. From the Inkspots' iconic sound to the Andrews Sisters and more, you'll always have some old classic to listen to. Sure, you might be using mini nukes against some gigantic super mutants, but you'll always have that sweet, sweet crooning of some long-dead musicians playing out of the speaker of your pre-war Pipboy 3000. And speaking of Pipboys, the amount of things they packed into it that made every screen feel like a part of the game is incredibly well done. Need to heal? Check the Pipboy. Need to eat? Inventory management? You guessed it. Imagine a supercomputer like your cell phone strapped to your wrist, but it can do so much more than just access the internet and look at memes, or watch YouTube while lying in bed when you should be asleep. This bit of kit is iconic and essential for every survivor traveling the Wasteland. And remember earlier how I briefly mentioned power armor? Let's talk about it. If you need a bit more protection than some haphazard leather or steel strapped to your chest, jump into a set of power armor. Originally designed to take on the Chinese invasion of Alaska, they proved so effective that the government continued to produce and improve them right up until the day the bombs dropped. Providing you with extra protection against all things raiders and rads, you can't go wrong with a solid set of T-45 power armor. And how could I forget this game's incredible karma system? This system was surprisingly robust and would change many things in the game, from how common citizens treated you to which faction would attempt to hunt you down throughout your gameplay. You could hear the effects of your actions through your Pip-Boy as they were reported over the radio, with Three Dog telling the entirety of the Capital Wasteland just what you've been up to. And not only that, it directly impacted which companions you could recruit to travel with you. You could only have certain companions with good karma and others with negative karma. However you wanted to play the game, there was a companion to travel by your side. Whether you were sowing chaos or being a harbinger of justice, there was always someone there for you. Although, you'll always have that iconic hound, Dogmeat, available to travel with you. But be careful. Do too many things that these companions don't like in your presence, and you won't have them around for long. And if you're not content with just traveling around the Capital Wasteland, have no fear. Back in the days when DLC was actual DLC and not some cheap cash grab like it is anymore, the DLC will send you all over the Wasteland. And even back before it was a Wasteland. You can fight aliens in outer space with the Mothership Zeta DLC, explore the remains of Pittsburgh in The Pit, fight Mirelurks in Maryland and Point Lookout, continue the game you've been playing all this time in Broken Steel, or go to pre-war Alaska and liberate it from the Chinese in Operation Anchorage. All of these are options with Fallout 3's incredible DLC. And remember when I said Bethesda wanted to make this a good showing? They definitely did that. This game won Game of the Year, Best RPG, Best Console Games, and a slew of other awards. It is still considered one of the best games of all time, and it's the game that started my own love affair with the Fallout world. So, if you think you're ready to join me in the Capital Wasteland, grab your Pip-Boy, prep your stim packs, make sure you got VATS, and let's get out there. But always remember, the #1 rule of the Wasteland: thou shalt get distracted by bullshit.